How's everybody today? Pete here at Spawn Fly Fish, getting ready for another episode of how to catch more trout. So in the vise today, we do have the Ahrex FW555 size 10 for the bead. I've got the Spawn slotted tungsten football bead, size 5.5 millimeter in crayfish brown, and I've got 6 wraps of .020 lead-free wire to get that bead held in place. And as I start the thread here, we are going to be tying a small crayfish. And yep, I'm a little bit crayfish obsessed as of late, but for good reason. It is still kind of early in the year and all that. Things are just waking up. You know, for us, the sea run cutthroat are back in the rivers and all that, and they're looking for, you know, chum fry, little crayfish, all kinds of goodies. Feed them, just feed them. So that's what we're gonna do. This is one of my favorite little crayfish patterns to fish, and it gives me an excuse to feature one of our new 3 colors, but this one being one of our new spawn dubs. This in bronze butter, and it is some kind of rich and full of goodness. All I'm going to do here is get a little chunk and simply going to tie that in as some mouth parts, whatever you want to call that. Just get it right down to where we put that little mark of our last thread wrap, and then I can get my thread behind and pull the rest of that over for a little veil. And as you can see, that'll just give us a little base, give us a little spot to work from as we add our other elements. And speaking of our other elements, how about some easy shrimp eyes? And these are the extra small. By no means do you have to use the extra small. The mediums work just fine. But this is the super fluorescent electric yellow. And it's not that I think this catches more fish than orange or black eyes. It's just I like the way that it pops. It sits, you know, definitely contrasts with the rest of this fly. And I am a huge fan of contrasts. So there you go. If you need an explanation of why I've got green eyes going here, why not? And then there's a little bit of tag here left on the tab, but you could just cut that off or you could tie it in, whatever makes you happiest. That's what you should do. I like to cut it so that as I finish tying this down, it just happens to meet up with where my weighted wire wraps end. Just make sure that that set of eyes is sitting on the underside as flat and flush as possible. Nothing to it, pretty simple. This whole fly is very simple. So now we're going to add a rib, and for this I've got some ultra wire. And this is size brassy. Small would work, of course, even medium would work. Whatever you got is probably good. Just going to tie that in on the side here and sort of forget about it for a little bit. Now keep in mind, we're tying this on a jig style hook, so this is how it's going to sit and ride as we cast it and then strip it back. So all this is being tied upside down for the most part. I do want to add some legs here for 1, a little bit of realism, and 2, for a lot of movement. And for that, I'm going back to the MFC barred Sexi floss, and this is size medium, color copper. I think this is like the last pack that we had, so I'm so sorry if you go to order this. We do still have them in small, and we will be replenishing these as well. But look at the barred Sexi floss on the site. There are so many colors, great colors, and this stuff is not like rubber legs. It moves a little bit differently, and since this is a small fly, it's not going to have a ton of movement. Whatever movement I can incorporate will just be bonus, and it'll be a huge effect. And that's where the Sexi floss comes in. I'm just going to get it up on the top here. I'll separate, and then I'm going to bring 2 of these legs to your side. And all I'm doing is leaving enough space for some dubbing here in the front, and that's right there. There's a little space first. When we bring our dubbing up, it'll make more sense. I'll get these 2 others tied onto my side, and That's it. That's all there is to it. Nothing crazy. If anything, make sure these are you know, kind of on the downstroke, if you will, of your body. You don't want crayfish legs sticking in an awkward angle or claws that these are representing. Just keep that in mind. Nothing to it. All right. For our last little element of realism, I guess, and to also fill in this body just a touch, going in for some bucktail, and this is simply a brown bucktail, but what I'm doing is going on that darker dorsal side of the bucktail. I'm not going in for those normal fibers that we look for. I'm going for some of that dark stuff on top with the exaggerated brown, and the reason being I like the way it looks. That's it. Nothing to it. And so as far as, you know, how far out all this is going to go, I want it just past where our little dubbing mouth parts were. So not crazy. Keep in mind, we're tying a small critter here, not going big. Just get a few somewhat strong wraps on there, and then I'm going to get my bodkin into play and simply lift the working fibers of that bucktail. And as I lift them and then release, they're going to somewhat naturally separate around that hook point. Just get in there, give a little visual inspection, and try splitting them as evenly as possible. You know, this isn't a situation where we're going to get into those fibers and count them by any means. Not that serious. Let's get these tied down, and Yahtzee. Keep in mind, we do have that little space here in front of the legs. So if you want, go ahead and sneak a wrap in there to make sure as we come in later with that dubbing, everything kind of stays clean for us. Forgive my fingers here for 1 second. There we go. There's that move. And now our bucktail is tied down all the way. Trim out these butt ends and finish cleaning that little bit up. And we're ready for our last tie-in here. And for that, we're going back to thin skin. And this is just mottled oak, natural. And honestly, any thin skin would be great. If you don't have thin skin, you know, a piece of flash would work, like a saltwater flashaboo, something, you know, pretty wide. Anything like that would be great. I'm just going to get this tied in, right, going right over the bead, that hook eye. And the reason being, after we're done dubbing this, we're going to bring this down. This will be our shell for our little crayfish. And Yahtzee, ready to go on this dubbing. So now let's get back into some of this beautiful bronze butter spawn dub. Now let's start making our noodle. And as far as how much dub, how thick do I need this dubbing noodle and all of that, base it off the size you're tying. So this size 10 is a pretty small guy, so I don't need a huge amount. But what I do want to make sure, especially on this very first pass, and you know, in both of them actually, but the very first pass where I go from the bead down to the point, I want this dubbing noodle to be really tight. And the reason being, that's going to bulk up my body more than using more dubbing. If you want to get that strong underbody, it's a tight noodle that does that. It's not more dubbing, it's tighter to their thread. All right, we're going to have to apply more dubbing here as we go, but let's scoot this up and we can start wrapping our body. Just going to make touching wraps here as we work our way toward the hook point. And this is where we were thinking ahead and we left that little space. And is it necessary? Probably not. Does it look better as a finished fly? Absolutely. So of course that's where we're coming from. Just give a little visual check there. Make sure everything is riding where it's supposed to. Make sure your legs don't get trapped in anything goofy. And now we can simply work our way back. I need just a pinch more dub on there. But you see, by doing that tight dub noodle, and that body looks pretty good. I'm a fan. And finish that off like so. Now, if there is a tricky part, this is it. We're going to bring this shell, body, exoskeleton, whatever you want to call it, down. And as far as how far we need it to go and all of that. So I'm going to punch a hole here in the center where the skin is going to meet the curved portion of our hook. And then from there, I'm simply looking past the hook. How far out do I want this head to go? And I want it to kind of go to the eyes, but not much further. So if I make a straight cut across here where the eyes line up, great. Now I'll take that and simply cut a crayon tip sort of shape into the end. Nothing crazy, not really exaggerated by any means. About like so. And now I'm just going to cut a slit from the very tip of our crayon tip down to that hole we made where everything will hit the shank or a hook point. And if you're really cute, you can get a little trimmed out space there. And watch now, we cut that out, bring it over, and it goes right around our hook. That's what we want for the top, for our shell. And now here comes that rib that we tied in a long, long time ago. But before we do this, one thing, let's get our brush out if we can find one. I know I've got one around here. There we go. So on simply the underside, I'm going to kind of give this dubbing and this body some life by releasing some of those fibers. So now we emulate the legs that go all the way back on this little crayfish. And now let's get that top back into place and ready to go with our rib. And be careful here that you don't, trap or catch a leg or anything like that, right? So here's your side. I'm being diligent, making sure that shell or casing too doesn't travel over too far, and I think it will. So let's just go right behind the legs on this first wrap. With that little shimmy, make sure we're not trapping all the body fibers. And then again on the top, making sure you're not cutting any of that thin skin with the lead edge of your wire, and at the same time keeping that thin skin on the top of the body. That's all it takes. Just get your fingers over there to prevent it from slipping over as you wrap. So you see I'm getting those fibers, kind of holding them in my offhand, getting that wrap secure, and Yahtzee. Let me just tie this off and I'll show you what that dorsal side looks like, and you will quickly understand why this thing gets eaten the way it does. Let me trim this out. Yahtzee, and pinch down with our thumbnail just to make sure that little trimmed wire isn't going anywhere. But look at the top of this body. That's hot. Well, that's very crayfish-esque, and that is what we're going for. We don't need it to be an exact replica, but it's pretty darn close. Whip finish time. Told you guys this is a pretty quick one, pretty simple. There's one whip finish. Let's go ahead and put a second one in there. But now you see we've got that spawn dub in bronze butter. It's a little darker than the copper craw. Got some different brown tones in there that really emulate a natural crayfish. And all three of these new dub colors are crayfish inspired and would definitely work for anything stonefly, generic searching nymph, anything like that. It's gonna bring in a lot of tones that you find in the bottom of your river and streams, and that's what we're kind of counting on. When you get in there and you see the coloration of these different critters, you'll see that they need to be camouflaged. So spend some time in your own water, in your local rivers or streams, and see what the colorations really are. And then when you get on the tying bench, you might be surprised and go, I've been tying these suckers the wrong color this whole time. Maybe not. Maybe you've been right the whole time. So now as far as a little trim work on these legs, I'm going to go body length away from the head. So 2 body lengths from the hook eye, like so, and that's it. Nothing to it. That's it, folks. There's a very easy way to tie a highly effective small crayfish pattern. And again, utilizing some of this beautiful bronze butter spawn dub. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you tie some of these up and go catch a bunch of trout with it. And if you like this video, by all means, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and we will see you all on the water.